All right, family, what we got today is gonna be a interior, meaning in the inside of your house, interior barn door installation. Now there's a reason for this, and it's very important to some, such as myself, so I wanna explain this to you guys. But I'm sure, like a lot of my videos, I always say, there are plenty of videos out there, but sometimes you wanna hear from a different perspective. Now I wanna start off by saying, you know all your beams behind your wall supposed to be 16 on square. I don't know if you can see the lines that I put here. If you can zoom in, if you can see that. There's a beam. I use my stud finder. There's a beam here, beam here, beam here. But if you measure it, as you can see, right here, 16 inches will be here. There should be a beam here. However, there's not. So my next beam will be right here. Now, even when I go to my next beam, if I go over to this side, all right, if I go over to this side, here is a beam. If you can see my marks, there's a beam right there. But then if we measure it, look, it's off by like 2 inches. The beam is here. So my point with explaining that to y'all out there is that a lot of old houses, or depending on what the contractor had to do to build the wall up, sometimes they got to shim it, or for whatever reason, it may be off. That does not mean you're in trouble with hanging your barn door. No, all that means now is that you're not going to be perfectly 16 on square. And the reason it's important to be 16 on square, because the thing that they give y'all to mount your door supposed to be look, these are 16 on square notches. Just to show you, if you see, see it's a hole there and a hole there. Watch this, it's 16 on square, see? Each hole 16 on square, the way it's supposed to be. However, the dilemma that you have sometimes is when you have situations like this where they're not 16 on square. This is right here, this is 22 inches away. It's way off. This one to here is 18 inches. It's off. So what you do to rectify that situation is now you gotta use a board and outside your wall. Paint it the same color as your wall, that way it blends right in. And all you do with that, now you drill screws into all those beams. Therefore, now when you use this, obviously you got your piece in back of it. You don't got to worry about going on the beam because this is going to hold this. So now you can put this pretty much anywhere. Obviously you want to make it your perfect measurements. But now your screw's going to go here, wherever. It doesn't matter now. Your screws could go anywhere because this is going to be your support. And this support is supported by the screws you actually put in each beam. And this solves your problem. You can stop. Okay. All right, folks. The other thing that the instruction books never, I have hung many barn doors before, interior barn doors, and I never see the instructions tell you how high the door should be. That way on the floor, you want to have that maybe 1/8 of an inch or so. So maybe 1.5 inch, but that's a little bit too much. I would say 1/8 of an inch from the floor. You don't want it touching the floor because you want it to be the guide off the floor. So they never give you the instructions how high should your door be to have that 1/8 of an inch. Obviously, 1/8 off the floor, but you're not gonna be sitting here holding the door and measuring it. So a simple way I came up with it is, where your door is, like I had a little mark here. Wherever the height of your door, this will be the height of my door. Just go 1/2 inch higher than that, and that's where the bottom of your board should be. Now look at this. This is 2.5 inches. I got 2.5 inches to play with. So wherever the very top of your door is, give it 1/2 of an inch, not 1/2. I'm sorry. Wherever the top of your door is, just go 1/2 inch higher than that, and that's where the bottom of your board as your template should be. Therefore, giving you 2.5 inches of playroom. So now when you screw these in, if you have to go there, that's fine. If you have to go there, that's fine. If you have to go there, that's fine. But the point is, you got 2.5 inches of playroom. All right, the other thing with doing your barn door is the instructions, as you can see here. They give you literature to read. They give you pictures to look at. They even give you arrows as to how to do your drilling. Now, as you can see here, it says the top hole 1.5 inch, and the second hole 3.5 inch. Now, let me just show you a simple mistake I've worked with others with in the past, and sometimes I would test them to see if they really understood that. Now, watch this. Let's take the hinges, for example, right? This is where it's supposed to be. See, I already pre-drilled this. But what did it say, right? It said, I remember I was working with a young man and I was showing him this. I said, I want you to follow these instructions and see if you can get this right. And sure enough, this is what he did. He said, well, the instructions said 1.5, and I told him, don't drill anything, just mark it first. And then we're gonna go over it. Basically, I'm gonna go over your homework with you so you can correct it, right? So he said, okay, I did 1.5, like the instructions said, 1.5 top hole, 3.5 the second hole, right? Simple error, watch this. So then he went to the next hole, 3.5. I said, okay, 1.5, 3.5. So why is your 1.5 matched up with my 1.5, but why is your 3.5 not matched up with my 3.5? So if you would have actually drilled them holes, look what would have happened. Let's put your mark there, right? I said, now imagine you'd have drilled them holes. Your first hole would have lined up, but you don't see the other one here. Could you see this? Mm-hmm. See the mark in there? I said, your first hole would have lined up. Your second hole would not have lined up, because look, his other hole is right here. See, his other hole is here. Your first one would have lined up. So it's a simple mistake, like I told him. So at first he couldn't figure it out. This is a young man. We learn by trial and error. I think that's always the best teacher, when you learn from your mistakes. So I told him, why is yours not lining up? And he didn't understand. He kept saying, but I'm doing it as it says. This is 1/2, and then they said 3.5. That's 3.5 inches, and this is 1. I said, that is correct. But here's a simple correction. Yes, 1.5. But after you get your 1.5, you mark it off of that one, not the top of the door. You mark it off of that one, and that's how you get your 3.5. Or another simple way to do it is, once you get your 1.5, now just use this. See, if you did it that way, boom, he'll still be good. You just got to make sure you get the first. If you do it the second way I'm talking about, you got to make sure you get the first one right. Once you get the first one right, you could pretty much trace the second one. But if you don't do it that way and you do it the way the book say it, you got to get your first one, mark it, and then mark off of that mark, not the top of the door. And that's how you get that. All right, folks. So now once you get to this part, you got to connect this. See how this is? Yeah, connect this into that. So now once you do that, you can see there's a hole there. So I highly advise any and everybody, pre-drill your holes first. That prevents the wood from cracking. You don't want that, because once you crack that wood, it makes the wood weaker. So definitely pre-drill your holes. And once you pre-drill your holes, I would recommend putting this in, because otherwise you're gonna keep dropping it if you're trying to do it by yourself. Let's see. All right. There we go. There you go. Then you gotta snap that into place with that. Boom. Once you snap that in, get your drill. Boom. There you go. And as I said, you pre-drill your holes, and each step gonna be just like the last step. It's a real simple process. You're gonna put that in there. Your holes are already pre-drilled. Boom, that one's in. Next one, same thing. Another common mistake I've seen happen. Make sure you put these with the big end towards the wall, not this way. It's a simple mistake. Your door will still work, but if you do it this way, when you open and closing your door, what's gonna happen? The roller's gonna be hitting this, and every time it's gonna go boom, 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 boom. So that's the whole difference. So make sure you have these this way, the wider part against the wall. Otherwise, you're gonna get the boop, boop every time. Now, maybe you want that look for whatever reason, but one thing I will tell you, if you do it this way, the door won't come back. Maybe that's something you want. So once it goes over this, boop, boop, when they try to come back, it's not gonna go unless you put some force with it. So maybe you want that look, maybe not. But the right way is this way. Peace. All right, folks, this is the part, step-by-step video, as I said, hanging the barn door. This is the bottom of your door. The whole purpose of this is when this go on the floor, you need the door to go in between this here. And this prevents the door from swinging outward, especially if you had a kid or something like that. You want safety. So you don't want that door to be swinging outward. This prevents that. Now, the very crucial part is if you had a router, which I do not, then a router would just go in here and you're done. Me, I don't have a router, so I'm improvising. Like one of my old movies. Improvise, adapt, overcome. So here we go. What I gotta do, I gotta do more work because I don't have a router. But like I said, I'm improvising here. So got my safety goggles on, got my mask on, and you're gonna see the end of what I'm talking about. I'm gonna show you over here. But here we go. All right. So now if you look over here, like I was saying, if you zoom in right there, you see how now you got two cuts? If you had a router would just cut exactly whatever router tool that you get. It'll cut exactly what you need. You ain't got to be doing all this extra work like I'm doing. Because now I got to do a third cut to cut this middle. See, you got one cut there, another cut there. Now I got to get this middle part out. Now, yeah, I could try to pry it out with a screwdriver or whatever, but don't want to damage the door. So I got to do a third cut and play with it and get that middle part out. All right, on to the next step. All right, folks, so this is the last part of installing your interior barn door for, your bathroom door, your bedroom doors. So this is the part where I was telling you, at the bottom of your actual door, you got to route out that piece. But like me, if you didn't have an actual router, you got to improvise, adapt, overcome. Remember that old movie, Heartbreak Ridge? But anyway, improvise, and that's what I did. I used my saw mat. So we're at the end. All we simply do is going to screw this down. And that prevents the door, as I said, from going outward. Especially, you want to be safe in case you have a little kid and they run and push the door and it come off its hinges. So here we go. Now, let's put the door on the hinges. Let's see. Everything should be working just fine. Let's see. This thing is heavy. All right. And we on. Here we go. Now, the last thing you want to install are your stoppers. The whole point of your stoppers are, you put these, this is a simple install. You simply put these at the top of your door, in between the brackets. And the whole purpose of that is to prevent the door from coming, because right now someone could lift this door up and it comes off its hinges. You don't want that, so you simply put these stoppers, simply drill them down, it's real simple. Turn it towards inward. That's that one. Let's go with this one. Now, 100% complete door install. So, as I said, the purpose of these two stoppers are so your door, see, it no longer can come off track. So, no matter how much you push it up, it will not come off track. That's the point of those stoppers. Very important to have. The point of your track here is, see, how the door no longer can come outward. That's the whole point of having that. Now, you do want to install it. This is, so maybe I'm gonna actually move this install, because you see I'm coming back. My door, I got an extra like 4 to 5 inches. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna move this back maybe about 2 inches. But you see, this will allow it not to move this way. Your door should only be going that way. It should not go this way. And that's the whole point of that. And as I said, the stoppers up here, very important. If you didn't know what they were for, that's what they're for. It prevents the wheels up here from coming off track. So now this door cannot, no matter what, it can't go up because of those stoppers. So if you ever have to move the door, you gotta just simply move 1, 2 screws, take the stoppers out, and you can lift the door. And on that note, happy installation to all of y'all. Subscribe, share, like, and comment. Peace. All right, so this part here, folks, this is your stopper to prevent your door from going off track left or right. So you want to put your stopper, and it also helps it stay on track for the bottom from it swinging out, that you don't lose that piece. It don't get off track from the bottom as well. So you simply just put this on. As you can see, there are 2 screws, set screws in the top. Simply just tighten them down. And see, it's a rubber, boom, boom, boom. These 2 rubber, so it don't make no noise, nice and quiet when it hits. As you can see look, it's rubber. So you simply just put that on, put it to the distance that you want. I'm putting it to the distance so it stops exactly where my, in between the bottom of my door, where I had to route it, which I didn't have a router, I used my saw. So it stops right there. But you see, this is what it does. See? Boom, the door moves no more. So now, I don't gotta worry about moving right down here. I don't have to worry about resetting my stop down there because I set the top part. So now that always stays in track. You see it right there, the little black thing right there, where I set, that's in the middle of the door to stop the door from going this way in and out. So, so now let's get it finished, see? Now when the door is completely closed, and then when you shut it, it stops by, boom, see? It hits that rubber thing, and it goes no further, unless you wanted to adjust it to go further. And that is it. On to the next step, and then it will be the complete door install. Well, actually, this is the complete door install, so don't mind me, you seeing both videos, saying, hey, he said he was in the video in the other video. That completes the door install. One more look. Totally open and totally closed. You got a good back view of that? All right, y'all, have a great day.